Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Devo with Bowo. Hope you're doing good. It is May 23rd, 2022. And we are in the book of Deuteronomy trying to get through the Torah. And we are making it through. Hey, if you stay with me and you just keep doing it daily, it's amazing how pretty soon we're like almost done with the first 5 books of the Bible, which is a whole section of the Old Testament. And you might have thought like, man, I never would get through the Old Testament. But guess what? You've already got through one main section, one huge section. And so, hey, I commend you for hanging in there, sticking it through, going through it. Very cool stuff. So today's Devo, oh gosh, where'd my Bible go? Where did my Bible go? I can't find my Bible. I had my Bible. I opened it up. I already looked at it, and I was like, "Hey, let's go." And then I turned around and I left it probably in another room somewhere. So hey, but fortunately, we have a lot of Bibles, which is awesome, right? So we're in chapter 14 through 15 of these morning devotions. That's where we find ourselves this AM. I want to welcome you, Paula, Laura, Marsha. Thank you guys so much for the music. Again, you could always check out that music, some of it at Upbeat. That's where it's at, Upbeat, Upbeat. And we get a license to be able to utilize that cool music. Some of my friends even do music like this and sell it. It's very cool. So anyway, here we go. Deuteronomy. Let's get into 14. Now, this might seem really, again, redundant, but then again, remember, we're in the book of Deuteronomy, and Deuteronomy means a reiteration of the law. So again, I just want to help you guys understand this. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, and Numbers. 4 books. Those are the main books. Deuteronomy is Moses's last, like, hey, remember this stuff, and he goes over all the paperwork that he got from God. You know, the boss gave him all the paperwork, and Moses is like, hey, I can't go with you over the Jordan into the promised land, but man, I am going to, break down all the paperwork. I'm going to do the PowerPoint presentation for you. I'm going to, we're going to get on Zoom and Zoom it a little bit, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to tweet you when you're in there. That kind of idea. He's reiterating everything. And so it says, you are the children of the Lord your God. What a cool thing, huh? Just to think on that one, right? The book of Ephesians in the New Testament says something really cool. It says, you are children of light. It's kind of a really cool statement, don't you think? You are children of light. Whoa, man, that sounds so cool, because it says God is light and him is no darkness at all. So sometimes just thinking about the idea of that, hey, I'm a child of God. That's a beautiful idea. That's a beautiful thought. And, I'm a created being, made in the image of God. Man, just thinking about my beginnings can be quite a big ponder session for sure. But something that lifts me up too, it encourages me, that passage. You are the children of the Lord your God. It speaks of speciality, right? It speaks of a intimate kind of love. That I'm God's kind of thing. And that's cool. There's nothing like being with the one you love and knowing that, that person's yours and you're theirs. And there's that, beautiful, just special kind of relationship. So I think of that when I think of that little sentence, you are the children of the Lord your God. Cool. Starts off like that. Do not cut yourselves or shave the front of your heads for the dead. So let's see. Did I shave the front of my head this morning? No. Let's see. Did I slice myself? No, I didn't cut myself anywhere. But, what does it say? For the dead, right? So don't do it for the dead. So those who have died, right? Those who are dead. So when someone's dead, don't go cutting your hair in the front. So don't shave your head in the front, and don't cut yourself. That's what they've been told to do. For you are a people holy, meaning you're to be different, separated, right? You're to be a different kind of crew. Remember, that was a big part of some of the passages of Deuteronomy, is that, all these things that the nations are going to see that you do, they're going to be blown away by how you guys live. It says, out of all the peoples on the face of the earth, the Lord has chosen you to be his treasured possession. Ooh, that's a real throwback passage to the book of Exodus. When we were going through Exodus, that's what God said. Yahweh said, hey man, I'm going to make you mine. You're going to be my treasured possession in all the world. Out of all of the people of the face of the earth, the Lord has chosen you to be his treasured possession. Blessing? Absolutely. Responsibility? Absolutely as well. And so that's neat. Treasured possession, chosen, children, all right there at the beginning. And isn't that a cool just idea to think of, that you are all those things? You are a treasured possession. You are a holy person, right? Separated for the use of God, right? That's what I am today, right? And you might not feel holy. You might not, I don't know what looking like holy looks like. I used to think it was a really cool, like if you dressed a certain way, that was the holy look. If you wore your hair a certain way, that was the holy look, that kind of thing. We everywhere in the world, we tend to sometimes go those directions where we look on the outward, right? And we kind of judge on the outward. But a holy person is someone who is separated for the use of God. Israel was to be a holy nation, separated by God. They were going to have a special revelation, right? Not just the normal revelation of God, like the idea of, we breathe, we live, we have our being in God. We can look out in the sky and go, wow, there must be a creator. Not that kind of revelation, but a special revelation, a holy people. Do not eat any detestable thing. These are the animals you may eat. And then it goes over the list of animals again that you can eat and you cannot eat. And it's a pretty good diet. And it's one that you want to look at. And you want to go, man, you know what? These are good. Maybe I should start eating the ox and the sheep and the goat and the deer and the gazelle and the roe deer and the wild goat and the ibex and the antelope and the mountain sheep. And maybe, I should cut out other things, like the camel, the rabbit, these different other things. And it goes over, and you can get into these cool studies on these animals, and it's very neat and very thorough. But, the bottom line is that, God's concerned with Israel in the way they eat. And they weren't going to be a nation that just ate anything they wanted to eat, based on their own whims or based on what their government thinks or things like that. It wouldn't be based like that. It would be based on what God said. See, God would be dictating to Israel even the food that they ate. Like, hey, this is what you're to eat. And the idea here is that God has some know into what is good food and what isn't. Now, I could go into a huge talk, right? And we can really get into a big talk on, food today and what food is like today. How good is it for you? Is what is in the stores very good? And we could talk about, the regulatory organizations that allow such things in the stores and why they do, and maybe some of the issues, regarding food production, but we don't need to do that in the Devo. That's for another day. But what we do need to focus on in the morning is that God is in the know, that God knows even what is good for me, even what is good for my body. And God is the creator. And that's always very neat to think about. And it's not that, we can't eat things today. But back in Deuteronomy, when they were crossing the Jordan, and God said, I'm going to live amongst you. I'm going to make my presence amongst you. And you are going to be a nation that is called out from the other nations to be a different nation. Therefore, this is what you're to eat. God is going to be the ultimate authority. Paula says, I just watched a documentary last night called Fresh about organic farmers versus industrial farmers, which talks about this very subject. Isn't that cool? Isn't that neat how that comes up, Paula? We're right in there. Yeah, but that's so true. Well, God is very organic, and God knows. He's in the know. And that's what we always try to decide in our world today, right? Who is in the know? Industrial farmers, organic farmers, what kind of animals, how they're being raised. Should we eat animals? Should we not eat animals? All these things, based on health reasons, right? A lot of health books out there. You can show me the book that you're reading, and I could show you the antithesis of that book. No doubt, there's that many books written on the subject, right? So Israel is to be a holy nation, and God is the one in the know. And so he tells them about the fish, those living in the sea, and what they can eat in the sea, and then what they could eat in the air. And he talks about those, and you might want to look at those too. And those are kind of interesting. Again, very interesting, very cool. You can even do your own research on why, these animals that God said is good, why they are scientifically good. And kind of go about it that way and go, hey, why did God say eat this? Or why God said don't eat that? And really just look into the nutritional aspects of these things. It might be something that's interesting to you. It says, and then it goes into, it says, don't eat the owl, right? Yeah. But the unclean owl is in the unclean bird. I love owls. I don't know about you, but I found in the street a dead owl once, and I remember going, "Wow, that thing's big. What is it?" And I went up to it, me and my wife, and we were blown away. It was an owl. What a pretty, beautiful animal. Absolutely stunning. And if you've ever seen an owl just perch up high in a tree and just sit there looking so majestically, and the way it turns its head and its eyes, those amazing eyes. It's just like how my mom talks about the eagles up in Alaska. She talks about them so majestically, and they're just beautiful. She talks about how they fly and how their face looks and how their beaks look, and just very majestic anyway. And birds can just be super neat to look at. I don't know if we got any bird watchers, but there's unclean and clean birds for the people of Israel. And it says, all flying insects that swarm are unclean to you. Verse 19, hey, don't eat the unclean, insect, right? Don't even let that thing, that's why when it goes in your mouth, right, we're all like spitting it out, right? Don't eat anything already dead that you find already dead, right? You may give it to an alien or to a foreigner, it says, but you are a people holy to the Lord. But those that call themselves Israel, they're not to eat of that, right? But you can if you want, if someone wants it, you can give it to them, and that's okay. So it's not forbidding other people from eating things. Sure, if they want to eat it, they can. But Israel was to be a special people. If they were going to follow Yahweh, they were going to listen to Yahweh's commands on eating. And again, I just love that. Hey, bringing my food before God. Hey, God, what do I do? What am I doing? Who is going to be the authority on the food that I eat? Very interesting. Is it going to be those organizations that are out there already and that already are there to supposedly regulate food? Is that going to be the ultimate authority in my life on what is good and what is not good for my body? Or is there going to be other things that are going to be the authority on my body, And what does God say about my body? And this might be a little like too specific for people. Some people might check out and go, oh, this is so specific, Bo. This is why I get kind of bogged down in the Bible, because it gets so like this, clean, unclean animals. But to me, man, I thought it was awesome. Even as a stoner guitar playing, heavy metal guy, when I was reading the Bible, I thought this was pretty awesome. Why? Because food matters, man. That's why. It's a big part of our life. And when I read it, I thought, man, dude, that's awesome. Like, the God of Israel is so so in the know and so into his people that he's calling out, that he's interested in every part of their life, all aspects of their life, all the mundane daily things God is interested in. And God has a purpose in these things. Progression. God is into their progression as a people of God, their growth, right? And that's what God's into with us, our growth, our progression, what we call our sanctification, our continued growth in him, right? And that happens through what? An intimacy with God. God being in charge of every part of our lives, involved in every part of our lives. Do you see the cool part about this? Yeah, if you get bored in this, well, maybe it's because your view of God is you want a God that's not intimate with you, that's not involved all the way in every aspect in your life. And then sometimes I got to ask myself, why? Why do I get bored with that? Why would I get bored with God having good things to say to me about even the most mundane things? Well, this is why the New Testament says, just so you know, whether you eat or drink, do to the glory of God. Yeah, that's right. Eat or drink. Isn't that interesting? We're talking about animals, clean, unclean. This is what the Bible teaches, even in the mundane, the daily, the regular living that we do. Everything is to be done for the glory of God. That's the intimacy of a Christian. Do we do it perfectly? Absolutely not. So much failure, so much grace needed, right? But the New Testament assures us that we will be presented holy and blameless before the Father through what Christ has done. And through what Christ has done, that we have an intimacy with God. We can come into that holy of holy places, that tabernacle, that place where only the priest, the high priest, could go. Remember back in Leviticus, only the high priest could go in there. We can go in there because we have been forgiven. And so we have this intimate walk with God that even the things of food, God matters about, or God is concerned about. And that's good because God wants to have intimacy with us. Whatever we do, eat or drink, we are thinking about who? God. Yeah, to the glory of God. God, help me to honor you in even what I eat and what I drink. Wow, very cool concepts. A real dedicated life, a very devotional life, right? And a very intentional life with God, with Yahweh. So they are intimate, Israel and Yahweh. So very cool Devo. Not too long, but I got some things I got to do and go run this morning. So I hope that is a good one for you. Makes you think a little different about these passages with clean and unclean foods, and that you think about God a little different, okay? You guys take care. Bye-bye.